Humanitarian response, sustainable development, and sustaining peace are three sides of the same triangle. Antonio Guterres. Don't look for big things, just do small things with great love. The smaller the thing, the greater must be our love. Mother Teresa. We are afraid to care too much, for fear that the other person does not care at all. Eleanor Roosevelt. Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that generation. Nelson Mandela. Art to me is a humanitarian act, and I believe that there is a responsibility that art should somehow be able to affect mankind, to make the world a better place. Jeff Koons. The most wonderful study of mankind is man. Relieving human suffering and diffusing universal knowledge is humanitarian. Daniel D. Palmer. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. Nelson Mandela. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King Jr. Don't be content in your life just to do no wrong, be prepared every day to try and do some good. Nicholas Winton. The destiny of world civilization depends upon providing a decent standard of living for all mankind. Norman Borlaug. To say that on a daily basis you can make a difference, well, you can. One act of kindness a day can do it. Betty Williams. A person who has sympathy for mankind in the lump, faith in its future progress, and desire to serve the great cause of this progress, should be called not a humanist, but a humanitarian, and his creed may be designated as humanitarianism. Irving Babbitt. I'm not a do-gooder. It embarrassed me to be classified as a humanitarian. I simply take part in activities that I believe in. Gregory Peck. Nobody grows old merely by living a number of years. We grow old by deserting our ideals. Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. Samuel Ullman. Isn't that why we're put on this earth to begin with, to make it a better place? It's not a religious quest, it's a humanitarian one. Simone Elkeles. Give young people a chance, our generation may just surprise you. Mark Kielburger. The basic problem affecting the Pakistan today is human rights. Islamic fundamentalists have no roots among the common people, and while they are pushing hard for religious fundamentalists to take hold, the common people still seek change through humanitarian and common human rights law. Abdul Sattar Eddy. Since the world has existed, there has been injustice. But it is one world, the more so as it becomes smaller, more accessible. There is just no question that there is more obligation that those who have should give to those who have nothing. Audrey Hepburn. If you can't feed 100 people, then feed just one. Mother Teresa. My religion is humanitarianism, which is the basis of every religion in the world. Abdul Sattar Eddy. The question shouldn't be what we ought to do, but what we can do. Rory Stewart. The true measure of the justice of a system is the amount of protection it guarantees to the weakest. Aung San Suu Kyi. I see this as my humanitarian legacy. We're prepared to pay billions. Sheldon Adelson. If something's not impossible, there must be a way of doing it. Nicholas Winton. Anyone who is speaking of a greater compassion, a greater humanitarian concern, is a leader paving the path we all need to follow. Marianne Williamson. I support concrete and progressive immigration reform based on three primary criteria: family reunification, economic contributions, and humanitarian concerns. Jeff Bingaman. The humanitarian lays stress almost solely upon breadth of knowledge and sympathy. Irving Babbitt. I gave a very dear friend of mine my humanitarian award. Because you don't need an award to be, or not be, a humanitarian. Elizabeth Taylor. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. He was a great patriot, a humanitarian, a loyal friend, provided, of course, he really is dead. Voltaire. Being a humanitarian, supporting animal rights activists, human rights activists, it's all the same. Daryl Hannah. The saving of labor of the individual should be the object and honest humanitarian considerations, and not greed, the motive. Mahatma Gandhi. A humanitarian is always a hypocrite. George Orwell. We've killed 1 million Iraqis since the start of the Gulf War, mostly by blocking humanitarian aid. Woody Harrelson. No man can write who is not first a humanitarian. William Faulkner. We need to change society's ordering principle from economic to humanitarian values, from money as the bottom line to love as the bottom line. Marianne Williamson. Most wars, after all, present themselves as humanitarian endeavors to help people. Howard Zinn. The humanitarian would, of course, have us meddle in foreign affairs as part of his program of world service. Irving Babbitt. For me, humanitarian service, or rather service of all that lives, is religion. And I draw no distinction between such religion and politics. Mahatma Gandhi. Nelson Mandela quote, like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural. It is man-made and it. Like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural. It is man-made and it can be overcome and eradicated by the actions of human beings. Nelson Mandela.